Tony with Referral Auto Group, and I'm making a quick video to kind of go over the two different types of refrigerators we see in today's RVs. Today's RVs are constantly evolving, and more we're seeing a full residential style refrigerator popping up in them. Daily I have a discussion with people on which will be better between the two. So hopefully this video will shed some light on the pros and cons of each, and only you can make that decision for yourself which would be better. So right now I'm standing in one of our used units, and this has what is most common that we know as an RV refrigerator, which is a two-way absorption refrigerator. This runs on two different sources, either power or propane. There are also two different modes, a full automatic mode or just an LP mode. In the automatic mode, it defaults to electricity. In the absence of electricity, will automatically go over to propane. This is an absorption refrigerator. So as you know, when you're getting ready to go on a trip, the first thing we think about is I got to get the RV out and the refrigerator cooled down, because these take a while to cool down because of the way that they run. They're nothing like a residential refrigerator that we're used to. So these take a while to bring the temperature down. Now, another thing to keep in mind is when you go grocery shopping, you only want to load already cooled down food into here. If you put room temperature or warm soda in with your meats, you take a very big chance on spoilage of your perishables while the refrigerator is trying to cool down that soda and maintain its temperature from being open and getting the food loaded into it. So that is a kind of a con of these refrigerators, is it has a hard time maintaining, and it does take a lot longer to cool itself down once it's open and closed. The other thing that I see a lot of people doing is, like when we're at home, we like to open the refrigerator and then decide what we want to eat or drink. That's a cardinal sin with these. You want to get in and out just as quick as you can, because every time you cycle this door, you're either warming it up or, in effect, cooling down the refrigerator, and it takes a long time for it to recover then as well. The good thing about the refrigerator is, when you're boondocking or dry camping, it is very favorable on your auxiliary power source, meaning your 12-volt batteries. This uses a 12-volt ignition system to light the burner, and after that, the LP takes over from there. So very little battery consumption with this type of refrigerator. Now, ambient temperature outside will also dictate how this is going to perform. If it's very hot outside, this will typically run warmer, and you want to stay out of it even more. Every refrigerator, absorption refrigerator, will vary from refrigerator to refrigerator. They all seem to have their own level of performance. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, there are modifications you can do to these, and that would be fans in the exhaust. So the vent, where it's either vented outside or vented, if it's in a slide out, there's a top vent that vents to the side of the slide out. You can put fans in there to help cool the cabinet behind the refrigerator. You can also install fans inside the refrigerator to almost mimic a residential refrigerator, to circulate the cold air off of these fins to get to the bottom food, because a lot of times the food in the bottom won't receive as much cool air as the stuff on the top. Blocking those fins will also keep a lot of the cool air from cycling, so you may have some food spoilage down low in the refrigerator. So that's just some of the pros and cons of the refrigerator. I don't want to, flood your mind with a bunch of stuff, but that's the main things I wanted to cover on this one. Now we're going to move into the residential refrigerator and cover some pros and cons and the benefits and non-benefits to that one as well. Okay, so I'm now in my 2018 Shasta Phoenix, which has a 14.7 cubic foot residential refrigerator that has barn doors on top, 2 freezer drawers on the bottom. Doesn't take much to tell about this because we're all accustomed to having these in our home, so I'm going to make this part short. The difference between this and an absorption refrigerator is the way they operate. This is a much more efficient system in the fact that it has circulatory fans, doesn't work off the absorption premise. The ambient temperature does not dictate how this is going to perform, and we can put lukewarm, off-the-shelf sodas or other things in here with our perishables and know that our perishables are not going to spoil. There is one, if you want to call it, disadvantage between this and the absorption refrigerator, and that's the type of power that they operate on. Now, the absorption refrigerator, if you remember, worked on electricity or propane. Now, in either instance, it works the same, so it's going to have the same characteristics. It's going to be very slow in cooling down. It doesn't have circulatory fans unless you chose to install them. So it doesn't matter which mode you're running on, it's going to operate the same. This only operates on electricity, and in the absence of it, runs on an inverter and uses your batteries. So if you're a boondocker or dry camper, you're probably going to want solar and a bigger battery bank to keep this thing running. But if you're willing to take that step, this is an awesome choice to have your food kept better, hold more of it, and have it more efficient. If you mainly dry camp and you don't want to go through the extra expense of the solar and the batteries, the absorption refrigerator may be a better choice. But for the people that only do that a couple times a year, then why have an absorption refrigerator that basically caters to that type of camping rather than the residential? Just some things to think about. I'm not here to persuade you in either way. I would choose a residential, but that's just my opinion. I hope this clears up some of the myths and questions between the two. And if you have any further questions, feel free to contact me anytime. Whether you buy from us or not, don't hide from us. So I hope these videos help, and I look forward to talking to you sometime in the future. Take care now.